What if I told you that the way you think about money is the very reason you don't have it? Not your job, not your upbringing, not your education, just the thoughts running through your head every single day. Now imagine waking up tomorrow and seeing the world through the mind of someone who has played the game of wealth like a savage, a man who turned debt into power, branding into currency, and boldness into billions. This video isn't about liking or disliking Donald Trump. That's irrelevant. This is about thinking like him, the billionaire version, the real estate mogul, the master of leverage, the man who made his name more valuable than gold. Because here's the truth: if you're broke, uncertain, and spinning in circles financially, it's not because you're unlucky, it's because you've never been taught to think like a billionaire. And today, that ends. If you're serious about building wealth, about rewiring your mind for dominance and prosperity, do not just watch this video. Smash that subscribe button, because we're not here to play small. We're building a future worth remembering. So, ready to think like a billionaire? You know what separates billionaires from the rest of us? It's not money, it's identity. Donald Trump never walked into a room thinking, "What can I do for you?" He walked in thinking, "What can I own here?" That's not arrogance, that's strategic thinking. Most people are trained from birth to think like workers. Get a job, follow the rules, earn your way up the ladder. But Trump, he skipped the ladder entirely. He looked at the building and said, "Why not own the whole damn thing?" See the difference? Workers trade time for money. Owners build systems that make money with or without them. And here's the scary part: you can't build billionaire wealth with a worker's mindset. It's like trying to win Formula 1 with a bicycle. That's why Trump wasn't afraid to take big swings. When he built Trump Tower, it wasn't just about the building. It was about positioning himself as a brand, as an owner of space, presence, and image. So ask yourself, are you still thinking like a worker, hoping for raises, playing it safe? Or are you finally ready to shift into ownership? And if this hits something deep in you, smash that like button right now, because we are nowhere near done. Trump always chased one thing above all: control. Not money, not fame, control. He wanted control of the narrative, control of the assets, control of the deal. When he negotiated with banks, he didn't come in begging. He came in with leverage. He made himself too big to fail. That's not luck, that's mindset. Billionaire mindset. Most people wait to be picked. Trump built a table and made others ask for a seat. Control is not given, it's taken. Let me ask you something personal. In your life right now, who's really in control? Your boss, your bills, your schedule? Because until you shift from reacting to owning, you're still playing someone else's game. And let's not pretend this is easy. Ownership requires risk. Trump was never afraid of it. He once said, "If you're going to be thinking anyway, you might as well think big." That quote alone can flip your entire approach to life. You don't get Trump power by playing it safe. You don't license your name on luxury hotels by waiting for the perfect moment. You move boldly, you fail loudly, and you learn fast. That's the game. So here's your move. Start making decisions like an owner. Stop asking, "Can I afford this?" And start asking, "How can I own this?" Ownership starts in the mind, long before it shows up in your bank account. Donald Trump never got rich selling buildings. He got rich selling an idea of himself. Think about that for a second. He wasn't just building towers. He was building a perception, luxury, exclusivity, power. And that perception, it became the most valuable asset he ever owned. The average person tries to make money by selling time or effort. Trump made money by selling belief. He realized something most people never do. People don't buy products. They buy stories. They buy symbols. They buy status. And Trump mastered the art of positioning himself as the status. When you walk into a building that says Trump on it, it could have been built by 1,000 contractors. But that name adds zeros to the price. That's billionaire thinking. He literally licensed his last name, a word, to buildings he didn't build and businesses he didn't run, and still made hundreds of millions of dollars. Why? Because the perception had value. He made his name a luxury brand. Let that sink in. His name, not his skills, not his labor, became a cash flow machine. So here's a question that might sting. What does your name stand for? What do people associate with you? Confidence, power, quality, or just noise? Because your reputation is either working for you or silently costing you millions. Trump understood that we don't live in an economy of products anymore. We live in an economy of attention. of perception. And in that world, image is leverage. That's why he always dressed sharp, always spoke with confidence, always acted as if he already won. It wasn't about impressing people, it was about reinforcing the brand. Even the gold elevators in Trump Tower weren't there to be practical, they were there to signal power. And here's the takeaway for you. Start treating your personal brand like an asset. What you wear, what you say, how you carry yourself, it all adds up to perceived value. You don't need millions in the bank to build a powerful presence, but you do need intention and boldness. You want to attract opportunities. Don't just improve your skills. Elevate your image. Dress like you matter. Speak like you believe it. Move like you already own it. Because people invest in people who look like they know where they're going. And if you're still with me, still absorbing this, take a second and subscribe. Not for me, for you, to keep feeding your brain the kind of thinking that actually makes you money. We're just getting into the fire. Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid chaos. They want stability, predictability, safety. They want clean calendars, predictable outcomes, low-risk environments. But Donald Trump, he walks straight into chaos like it's his natural habitat. And he doesn't just survive in it, he thrives in it. Let's make something very clear. Chaos is where most people freeze. But for a billionaire, chaos is just a tool, a weapon, a source of massive opportunity. Now you might be thinking, come on, that's reckless, that's dangerous. But you're missing the point. It's not about creating chaos for the sake of it. It's about recognizing what chaos really is, a smokescreen that hides leverage. And Trump mastered this game. Let's go back. In the 1990s, Trump was drowning in debt. The media was calling him done. His empire was collapsing. Most people in his position would have disappeared, moved somewhere quiet, licked their wounds. Trump, he doubled down on visibility. He took interviews. He got louder. He leaned into the fire because he understood something most people never will. If they're still talking about you, you're still in the game. That's not ego. That's tactical attention control. In business, silence equals irrelevance, and irrelevance is death. Trump knew that chaos, controversy, unpredictability, it all feeds attention. And if you can hold people's attention in a chaotic environment, you have power. Because when people are uncertain, they look for someone who looks certain. Let me ask you this. When your life gets messy, when business gets hard, when plans fall apart, what do? Do you freeze? Do you wait for clarity? Or do you move? Because the move, the decision, the bold action, is the difference between being a spectator and a player. Trump didn't sit around hoping for clarity. He created it on his terms. He knew that most of the world is paralyzed by unpredictability, which means the moment things become unstable, most people stop moving. And that's exactly when he made his moves. When the economy dipped, he bought. When his brand was under fire, he expanded it. When critics screamed, he leaned in harder. And it worked, because in every wave of no's, he positioned himself as the one person unafraid to act. Now here's where it gets personal for you. How many times have you had an idea, a business, a project, a creative spark, and didn't act on it? Why? Because it wasn't the right time. Because things weren't settled. Because you weren't sure. That's worker thinking. Let me say it plainly. Billionaires don't wait for peace. They profit from storms. Trump didn't wait for certainty. He built his name in the fog. And the fog is where the real estate is cheapest. Not just in buildings, but in attention, partnerships, influence, and power. And here's a practical truth. When the environment gets noisy, it becomes cheaper to buy attention. In stable times, everyone's competing. Ads are expensive. Trust takes years. But in chaos, people are looking for leadership, for direction, for signal. If you're bold enough to step up, speak clearly, and claim space when everyone else is hiding, you win by default. That's how Trump positioned himself again and again. Not as the smartest guy in the room, but as the one willing to act when others hesitated. He wasn't afraid to make messy moves. Sometimes they failed. Sometimes they exploded. But they always pushed him forward, because movement, even imperfect movement, is how billionaires stay visible, stay relevant, stay ahead. Now let's get practical again. Start training your mind to stop seeing chaos as danger, and start seeing it as signal. Ask yourself, when people are uncertain, what do they need? When others are scared, what can I offer? When systems collapse, What gap opens that I can fill? You want to build wealth. Learn to move toward the nose, not away from it. While everyone else is waiting for instructions, you need to become the signal. And here's a mindset shift that will change everything. Stop asking, when will this be over? Start asking, what's opening up that wasn't available before? Because in every moment of collapse, something else is being born. And if you're paying attention, really paying attention, you'll see the openings. This is how Trump treated market downturns, lawsuits, public scandals, not as threats, but as leverage points. He used the media chaos around him to build more name recognition. He used criticism as free marketing. He turned unpredictable moments into platforms. It's not that he liked chaos, it's that he understood its value. And so can you. Right now, there's probably something in your life that feels out of control. Business, career, relationships, money, whatever it is, it feels messy. Here's your challenge. Instead of hiding from that chaos, study it. Look inside it. Ask, what part of this situation gives me an advantage no one else sees? Because there's always one. Most people never ask that question. They just survive. You can strategize. That's billionaire thinking. Trump didn't become wealthy by walking straight lines. He zigzagged through storms. So here's the final reminder in this section. Chaos is a gift, if you have the courage to unwrap it. And if this resonates, if you feel your mind shifting even a little, like this video and subscribe right now. This isn't motivation. This is mental infrastructure. And the deeper we go, the more dangerous you become. To poverty, to fear, to the old version of you that's been hiding. So take a breath, straighten your shoulders, and get ready. Because the next shift, it's about how Trump multiplies everything. Not by working harder, but by positioning smarter. Donald Trump doesn't think in terms of effort. He thinks in terms of positioning. Most people chase money. He chases position and lets the money chase him. Let's unpack that. When Trump looks at a deal, he's not asking, how much work is this going to take? He's asking, how does this position me in the market? What does it signal about my brand? What's the downstream leverage? Because Trump knows something that most entrepreneurs never figure out. Money follows magnetism. Let me say that again. Slowly. Money follows magnetism. If you can position yourself in a way that makes you attractive, not desperate, not needy, but inevitable, the deals come to you. The partnerships chase you. The capital finds you. This is why Trump isn't just in real estate. He's in branding, licensing, golf, media, books, television. But here's the catch. He doesn't always own everything in full. Sometimes he just lends his position, his name, his face, his presence, and lets others do the work. And yet, he gets paid like an owner. Why? Because his positioning multiplies the value of any deal he touches. That's billionaire thinking. Most people are stuck in what I call input equals output logic. Work 10 hours, get paid for 10 hours. Sell one product, get paid for one sale. But Trump flipped that. He asked, how do I inject myself into high-value positions that pay forever? Let's go real world. When a developer wants to build a luxury building, they can call it anything. But if they slap the word Trump on it, guess what? The perceived value goes up. The press coverage increases. The investor confidence rises. Why? Because he positioned his brand as a multiplier. He didn't need to hammer nails or pour concrete. His name alone made the asset more valuable. Now think about yourself. What do you bring to the table? Besides labor, what positioning do you have that makes deals more valuable just because you're involved? Because until you build that positioning, you're always going to be trading effort for income. And effort has limits. Positioning compounds. Here's a story that'll make you think differently about this forever. In 2004, Trump launched a show called The Apprentice. Now think about this. He didn't need a reality show. He was already rich, already famous, but he saw an opportunity to multiply his brand's value, a completely new arena, television. Within weeks, he wasn't just a businessman. He was a household face. Within months, the Trump name became more powerful than ever before. Now ask yourself, was the show the product? Or was Trump the product? It's obvious. He used the show to build more positioning, which led to more deal flow, more licensing, more visibility, more brand equity. He turned one TV series into $1 billion halo around everything he touched after that. So what's the move here for you? It's not about copying the show. It's about copying the strategy. Put yourself in places that multiply your identity, not just income. Identity. Ask, where can I be seen? Where can I borrow someone else's platform to raise my value? What can I attach myself to that amplifies my reputation and perceived status? Because in this economy, attention is the new currency, but positioning is the vault it sits in. Let's get tactical now. If you're building a business, don't just focus on products. Focus on positioning. What story does your business tell? What space in the customer's mind do you occupy? If you're starting from zero, great. Even better, because you get to be intentional from day one. Start treating your online presence like a digital skyscraper. Build it with clarity, authority, style. Speak with confidence. Show up with consistency. Be seen in high-value spaces. People don't always buy based on quality. They buy based on perceived value, and positioning creates perception. Want to be taken seriously? Position yourself where serious people are. Want higher ticket clients? Position yourself with premium content, premium visuals, premium mindset. And here's the punchline. Trump's real genius wasn't in real estate. It was in realizing that every deal is a marketing deal. Every property promoted his brand. Every brand lifted the property. Every controversy kept the brand in circulation. And the brand printed money, even when the properties didn't. That's the move. So take this seriously. You can either work hard for 40 years to build something average, or you can spend the next 6 months intentionally crafting a positioning so sharp, so compelling, so strategically placed, that it multiplies everything you touch. And don't worry if you feel behind. You're not behind. You're just one strategic shift away from playing a completely different game. If this clicked, if you feel that shift in your gut, like this video and hit subscribe, because we're not done yet. We're going into how Trump makes debt. Yes, debt, work for him. Like fuel. Most people are taught to fear debt. Avoid it. Eliminate it. Stay safe. That's what average people are told. That's what workers are told. But Trump, he looked at debt and saw leverage, terror, raw, financial power. And here's the most important thing to understand. There are two kinds of debt, dumb debt and strategic debt. One destroys you, the other makes you rich. Let me break it down. Dumb debt is what you use to buy things that lose value. Cars, shoes, vacations, gadgets, all that shiny garbage that feels good but gives you nothing back. That's consumer debt. That's a trap. But strategic debt, that's the billionaire's game. That's when you borrow other people's money to acquire assets that cash flow or appreciate, and then use the cash flow to pay off the loan while keeping the asset. Trump mastered this. He didn't use his own money to build skyscrapers. He used bank money, investor money, leveraged capital. He took $10 million of his own, added $90 million in debt, and boom, he controlled a $100 million asset. Now ask yourself, who's gonna get rich faster? The guy using only his own savings, or the guy using leverage to scale up 10x faster? And here's where it gets even crazier. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, most developers were crushed. Trump, he renegotiated his debt. He used the crisis as leverage because he knew something powerful. When you owe the bank a little money, the bank owns you. But when you owe the bank a lot of money, you own the bank. Read that again. If you owe $5,000 on your credit card, you're panicking. You're stressed. But if you owe the bank hundreds of millions, suddenly, the bank is nervous. They don't want to lose that money. They'll work with you. They'll listen. Because your collapse becomes their collapse. And Trump used that power again and again. He created so much leverage, such massive scale, that he became too big to push around. He didn't see debt as a prison. He saw it as a bargaining chip. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought about using other people's money to build your dream? Or are you still stuck in that save every penny mindset? Because here's a harsh truth. You will not save your way to wealth. You have to scale. You have to use systems bigger than yourself. Trump understood that capital is everywhere. You just have to know how to pitch, how to position, how to persuade. And here's another secret most people don't know. He used debt as marketing. Think about it. Every time Trump took on a giant development, headlines, news coverage, public interest, it wasn't just about the building. It was about the spectacle, the story. The banks got nervous, sure, but they also paid attention because big, bold moves get talked about, and visibility creates leverage. Want a simple but powerful way to think like a billionaire? Stop asking, can I afford this? Start asking, how can I structure this? Because billionaires don't pay full price. They don't pay up front. They use other people's capital to build value, then exit with profits, often while keeping equity. That's how empires are built. So here's your takeaway. Stop treating debt like a monster under the bed. Start studying it like a scalpel in the hands of a surgeon. Used wrong, it cuts deep. Used right, it saves lives. You want to build a scalable business? Learn about capital structures. You want to invest in property? Learn about loan-to-value ratios, refinancing, creative financing. Because the sooner you stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a capital allocator, the sooner your wealth trajectory explodes. Trump understood one more thing. It's not about how much you own. It's about how much you control. And you can control billions with very little of your own money. That's leverage. That's financial intelligence. That's how billionaires move. And if this mindset hits you like a brick, take 2 seconds and hit that like button. It tells the algorithm this video matters. But more importantly, it tells you that you're not playing small anymore. Because the final principle, it's about the long game. How Trump plays not for money, but for legacy. And when you see how he thinks about time, reputation, and generational wealth, it'll change your map forever. If you still think Donald Trump got rich because of a few flashy real estate deals or some TV show, you've missed the bigger picture. Trump's real game is legacy. He's not just building wealth. He's building a name that outlives him. A brand that prints money long after he's gone. A position in the minds of people and in the marketplace that survives economic cycles, media attacks, and even death. That's not rich thinking. That's dynastic thinking. And here's what separates the wealthy from the ultra-wealthy. Poor people think day to day. Middle-class people think month to month. Millionaires think year to year. Billionaires? They think in decades and beyond. Trump was always playing a longer game. He didn't name buildings New York Tower or Fifth Avenue residences. He stamped them with one word, Trump. Why? Because he wasn't just building property, he was branding time. He wanted to create something his children and their children could monetize, build on, and grow without starting from scratch. And here's a wild thought. The Trump organization wasn't designed to end with Trump. It was designed to become bigger than him. Now here's the uncomfortable part for you and me. Most people live life trying not to screw up today. They never stop and ask, what am I building that survives me? And that question shifts everything. Trump built systems, brands, media presence, and even controversy, not for short-term gain, but for long-term recognition. He knew that fame fades, money inflates, attention moves fast. But legacy compounds. Let's go deeper. You remember The Apprentice? Most people think it was a fun TV show. Trump saw it as a platform to inject his name into a new generation's psyche. He knew real estate had limits, but media is infinite. Every rerun, every meme, every clip on YouTube, free advertising for the Trump brand. He played chess while others were playing checkers. When he opened golf resorts, it wasn't just about business. It was about global positioning. Put the Trump name on a course in Ireland or Scotland, and now his brand exists on multiple continents. Legacy isn't just about inheritance, it's about permanence. And here's a principle you can steal today. Don't just chase income, build infrastructure. Don't just post online, build an identity. Don't just sell products, create a platform. Because when you're gone, your money disappears with you. But your systems, your brand, your ideas, they can outlive you. Trump didn't get rich fast. He got rich forever. And the only way to do that is to stop thinking like a hustler and start thinking like a builder of empires. Let's get painfully real for a moment. If you died tomorrow, what would continue? Would anything still pay your family? Would your name stand for anything? Would your impact echo or disappear? That's why this isn't just about Trump. This is about you. What are you building that matters? What are you creating that can't be canceled, crushed, or copied? Because legacy isn't about becoming famous. It's about becoming foundational. Trump didn't wait to be remembered. He engineered memory. He forced his name into history. Not with luck, but with ruthless strategic thinking. Now, does that mean you need to slap your name on a building tomorrow? No. But it does mean you need to stop thinking in 30-day plans and start thinking in 30-year visions. What systems are you building? What name are you protecting? What brand are you reinforcing? Not once, but every single day. You want to think like a billionaire? Then stop chasing trends. and start becoming timeless. Because in the end, money can vanish, markets crash, brands fade, but one thing remains: what you built that stood the test of time. If this hit deep, if something inside you just shifted, hit that subscribe button right now. Not because it helps me, but because it commits you to never thinking small again. You're not here to get rich quick. You're here to build an empire. And this is just the beginning. So here we are, at the end of this deep dive into the billionaire mindset of Donald Trump. You've learned why debt isn't a dirty word but a powerful tool. You've seen how boldness and confidence move mountains. You understand the power of branding and legacy. But here's the truth nobody tells you. None of this works unless you start. Right now. Today. Not tomorrow, not when you're ready, but now. You don't need a billionaire bank account to start thinking like one. You just need to commit. To take risks smartly. To see debt as leverage, not a trap. To build long-term value instead of chasing instant gratification. To build your brand, your legacy, brick by brick. If you're serious about leveling up your money mindset and want more powerful insights like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video that could change your financial future. Drop a comment below. What's your biggest takeaway? What action will you take today to think bigger and smarter? Smash the like button if this video gave you value. It really helps me create more content that helps you grow. Remember, billionaires aren't born, they're made. One smart decision at a time. So go out there and start building your empire, because the world doesn't wait for anyone. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.